have shifted gears into Wednesday, hump day, but still talking nothing but Crimson Tide football on what is the #1 ticket here for your Alabama football news, notes, information, updates. Yours truly, your man, the hype man, when it comes to that Bama football. Yours truly, Stephen Smith, in my own words. Touchdown, Alabama Magazine. Proud to have everybody tuned into the show on this evening. We have a lot to discuss, talk about, breakdown, get into, as we're bringing the show to you from the magic city of Birmingham and streaming this to you on YouTube. Speaking of a channel, go ahead right now, give a like on the show, that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best news, notes, alerts, and coverage on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. Also, we got you covered on Facebook and Twitter as well in terms of streaming. So, no excuse for you not to be locked on to the hottest show on the streets when it comes down to your Alabama football news. Gotta shout out my man John Ivory one time in the production studio doing his thing here on a Wednesday. And we want to hear from you, the Alabama football fan base, you the faithful out there. And you can do this by calling 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you guys on this evening. The daily super chat go, as always, $75 daily. Super chat go, $75 right there. We appreciate the support, the love, the passion that you guys have as the Alabama football faithful, helping us out here where this show is concerned. But we start things off tonight with kind of just my one lone concern. If I had a concern from the A-Day game, the spring game over on last week, the one concern I would have would be the offensive line. And aside from that, the quarterback play was strong. We saw Bryce Young go out there and make a lot of throws. He sat there, made a lot of explosive plays with the football, got the ball into the hands of the playmakers. He did a lot of great things in the field, which was the reason why he was the MVP of the spring game. So we saw great things from Bryce Young. We saw strong things from the running backs coming out of the backfield, catching passes. We saw wide receivers step up. We saw tight ends play well. We saw the young guys on defense flying to the football. So for me, probably the only lone concern I had was the offensive line. And when you just watch the spring game, there were so many moments where, guys were getting beat off the line of scrimmage. I understand Alabama's had some guys that were nicked up, banged up, and, couldn't go in the last scrimmage there when you talk about Emil Ekiyor and Pierce Quick. So you didn't have those two guys in the field, but when you discuss the young guys that did take the field there for the spring game, Tommy Brockermeyer was out there. The likes of Tanner Bowles was out there. Seth McLaughlin was out there. Just a lot of guys that have not gotten the chemistry, the continuity, the camaraderie with each other yet, and that they've got to get that down when you look at entering now into summer workouts, 7-on-7 things, 11-on-11 type deals, and, of course, fall camp. So for Coach Saban and offensive line coach Doug Marrone, the key will be is getting the best 5 guys in terms of starters on the field. And I've mentioned this before, once you get Ekiyor and Pierce Quick back, that will solve a lot of things for the first-team offensive line. On the left side of that line, it'll be, it won't be an issue there, because on the left side, you would have Evan Neal at left tackle, Emil Ekiyor at left guard, Chris Owens at center. That'll be the left side. The right side was where kind of the fun will be had at, because Tommy Brown held that right guard position throughout the entire spring, took all first-team reps at right guard. Now, the question will be, will Brown be able to hold that spot? Because prior to an injury, Pierce Quick was actually owning that spot, running that spot, and dominating that spot. So that will be a battle once Quick returns, and then At right tackle, we kind of have a 5-man Russian roulette game going right there when you discuss Javion Cohan, Damian George, the likes of Kendall Randolph, Tommy Brockermeyer, and J.C. Latham. Now, for me, if there was a freshman that could start on the offensive line right now, the freshman I would have start is J.C. Latham. I mean, he is a freak of nature, freak, 6'6", 320-plus pounds right now. He's a guy that, once again, coming from Florida, following the footsteps of Evan Neal and Alex Leatherwood, remember? Leatherwood came from Booker T. Washington High School in Pensacola, Florida in the 2017 class. He was a natural offensive tackle, but he played guard his first season before transitioning over to tackle. He's played guard his second season. His first season, he came and fielded admirably for Jonah Williams at offensive tackle in the national championship game, but played guard as a starter before transitioning back to tackle. And the same thing for Evan Neal when he came in the 2019 class from IMG Academy down there in Florida. He came in, he started off as an offensive guard working in a phone booth there before transitioning outside to right tackle, and now he will flip over to left tackle to start the upcoming season here in the fall. So here comes J.C. Latham, another young man from Florida. You've got Evan Neal is one of his closest friends, and on top of that, you've got the likes of David Ballou and Dr. Matt Ray, who also spent time at IMG as well. So a guy that would be physically ready in terms of size, power, athleticism, quickness, has all the God-given tools to be a freshman starter. That guy to me would be J.C. Latham. The question is he mentally ready to go? Is he mentally prepared to give Alabama football, to give Nick Saban, to give you, the fans, what you want to see? If he's mentally prepared to go, he starts. If not, then you would go with the experience of one Kendall Randolph, who has played a lot of football, whether it's at a guard position, a tackle spot, or a tight end, blocking there in the C gap. But for me, when you discuss the first-team offensive line, I think you would end up having 4 really solid guys, and then the 5th guy will be more so of your swing man. Now, that swing man will have some issues early on in the season, but as the year progresses, as the games get more and more intense, I feel like that 5th guy will gain more confidence and will be set to bring you more production there on the offensive line. But just for me, watching the 8A game, offensive line had me the most concerned, just due to it didn't matter whether it was the first-team defense or the second-team defense. Guys just kept getting through. I mean, Paul Tyson for the second-team offense was running for his life. I mean, whether it was Jamarian Latham coming at him, or T.M. Smith coming at him, or DeMoy Kennedy coming at him. Just so many guys coming to the backfield, affecting Paul Tyson in the pocket, because the young guys on the offensive line were not able to effectively communicate and pick up those blocks. And there were even moments where the first-team offensive line, despite the experience that group had, you still had some guys coming in there converging on one Bryce Young making plays, whether that was Chris Braswell doing it, or Deontay Lawson doing it, or Jalen Moody doing it, or whomever was coming out that first-team defensive front getting to Bryce Young. There was some plays being made against the first-team offensive line. So just for me, God forbid if an injury was to happen to Evan Neal at left tackle, I mean, who do you call upon to go out there and take that spot? And that's kind of a concern for me right now. So the big thing here, if you are Doug Marrone and if you are Nick Saban, getting this offensive line to play strong, to play together, to gel, to be a cohesive group, that's the biggest thing as we transition into the biggest portion of the offseason when you talk the weightlifting process, getting into those 7-on-7 camps, those 11-on-11 camps, and then most importantly, getting into preseason fall practice where we start to really and truly see who will be the starters there on the offensive line. But to me, that's my main concern. Hopefully Alabama can get that in line, can clean that up, because as much as we want to see Bryce Young do his thing, be successful, become a Heisman-winning quarterback. As much as we want to see these running backs become, big-time game breakers, game changers out of the backfield, and as much as we want to see guys like Ajay Hall, Trayshawn Holding, and these receivers be special tight ends also with Jaleel Billingsley and Cameron Latou, everything starts with the big boys up front. Everything starts with the offensive line knowing what it's supposed to do and being confident in that responsibility to get that job done. But we take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. We're just getting started here. Upon our return, we get into a conversation, a dialogue with you, the Tide fans. We take your phone calls, your thoughts, your texts, your tweets, your chats. We talk to you right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We are rocking and rolling here, folks. We are back in from the break on a Wednesday, hump day. Number one ticket for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Glad to have everybody tuning into the show on this evening. And we're about to go to the we're back inside the call segment here. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. But as you guys are getting your thoughts ready to call into the show, cool topic right now. Bama got the championship rings in. The Alabama players got the championship rings after going undefeated for the second time in the Nick Saban era, but 2020 season. Check out the video right now of quite a couple of these players excited to get their championship rings on their fingers. Check it out.
Good rewards like this just come from hard work, that's it.
Hey, look, real spill. Y'all can't tell me nothing right now. You feel me? 3 of them boys. You dig what I'm saying? Coming home with me. For sure.
Yeah.
Really awesome there, just seeing the number of different players. DJ Dale in the video, Fidarian Mathis, Thomas Fletcher, Malachi Moore, John Mechie, Jalen Moody, all of those guys celebrating history being made, getting their national championship rings. We got a really big team, and they got some really big rings, you know what I'm saying? So Bama celebrating those championship rings for the 2020 campaign, and hopefully look to run it back and repeat as national champions. But as you guys continue to get your calls in here, 205-448-1358, that is the number to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. Another thing that U.S. fans were kind of concerned about during the spring game was Will Reichert missing three field goals. He went 2 for 5 on the afternoon. And for me, it's not really that much of a concern to me, just due to when you bring it in or when you have a brand new long snapper, a brand new holder, they got to build that timing with Will Reichert from the kicking perspective, because special teams, this is a very specified, a synchronized, a timing, continuity, chemistry type of thing where the snap has got to be right. It's got to be perfect every time. The hold has got to be right. You got to have the laces turned away consistently from Will Reichert, and of course Will making those field goals. And it's got to be a perfect motion of snap, hold, and kick. If there's anything that's slightly out of ordinary, it can knock off the rhythm. It can throw the equilibrium completely off target there. So for me, not really overly concerned there, just due to we saw Reichert perfect last season. 14 of 14 on field goals, made all 84 of his point after touchdown attempts. So we know when he's on, he's on. This is not any trouble or any issue when you're discussing one Will Reichert. So for me, I feel like the kicking game, they will get that situated once again as we dive into summer workouts, as we get into fall camp, preseason practice. That area of the Alabama football team will be worked out as well. But we take another break here on the show, but upon our return, we get into something interesting. Pay for play is coming. Alabama Governor Kay Ivey did something this week that's very much so intriguing. What did she do? How does pay for play affect college football? Does it change your perception of college football? We'll talk about it after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
As we're back in the saddle here, people, from the break of the #1 forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and we're getting it out. This topic here, the conversation, pay for play is coming. And in discussing one, Governor Kay Ivey here for the state of Alabama, she signed a bill on Tuesday. The bill was the name, image, the college athlete name, image, and likeness bill, which will go into law and will go into effect as of July 1st. Governor Ivey signed this bill into motion, and Alabama becomes one of at least 10 states that have this bill and that have this going into law and going into effect here coming up soon here in the coming months. And on top of this, they're trying to get more governors within different states to sign the name, image, and likeness bill. But what this does is this brings pay for play even more closer into the picture due to, if you go back to April of last year, the NCAA Board of Governors, they approved, they are in support of pay for play. They're in support of compensating these athletes for their name, their image, their likeness, and the start of this was set to be in motion for the 2021/22 academic year. Now, for me, there's a lot of questions that come with this, right? I mean, first and foremost, you think about how much does this change your perception of college football? Because for a lot of you out there, and in particular, my father out there, we've had conversations about this, me and my dad, and the conversations have been about, he's not big on pro football. He's not big on pro sports, as some of you are not big on pro sports. You look at it as it's a money ploy. They're in it for the money. They just do it for the paycheck. Ain't no fun in it. Ain't no swag in it. Ain't no enjoyment in it. Ain't no passion in it. Ain't no pride in it, because they do it for the paycheck. Versus college football, that's what I'm about. I'm about college football. I'm about it I'm about it for the energy, for the pride, for the pageantry. They play for the love of the game. They play for the love of the sport. They play for the love of the team. It gives me, as a fan, something to brag about. It's not about the money for the college football athletes, and for those that get into college basketball, especially when it gets down to March Madness time, the same thing goes there as well. So with pay for play coming in closer and closer here, does this change your perception of college football? Does this change your perception of Alabama football in any way, shape, or form? Because to me, I feel like pay for play needs to happen just due to, I understand the NCAA, they tell these athletes, look, we have a scholarship for you. We're giving you a free education. You get 4 plus years of a free education, and we got this here for you on scholarship. But that scholarship pales in comparison to the blood, sweat, tears, injuries, the mental and physical toll that is being taken on the bodies of these athletes. And it pales in comparison to what these athletes are being asked to do on a everyday given basis here, in bringing notoriety, and bringing fame, and bringing prestige, and bringing a certain sense of status to these respective colleges and universities. And case in point here, there are hundreds upon billions of dollars that these athletes bring these schools, and these young men and women see none of that money. We're talking about, in terms of just enrollment of students here, when you discuss the double and triple and quadruple of enrollment of freshmen coming on these respective campuses, these new freshmen, they're not coming to see quadratic equations. They're not coming to see people solve a physics problem. They're not coming to see the next chemical or civil engineer. They're not coming to see the next person find the cure for cancer. Now, if you find the cure for cancer, please share that with us. We do not want to be left outside of that element right there. But the point I'm making is, they're coming to see the athletic department. They're coming to see the football team. It's the athletics that's bringing the increase or growth of enrollment. I remember personally, during my time as an undergraduate at the University of Alabama, from 2011 to 2015, I earned my degree in journalism and with a minor in computing technology. And I remember in a 2-year span, we're looking at 2012 and 2013, I was a part of the Alabama Student Society of Communication Arts. And what I did, I was a part of a team that we went around campus, we went around the different high schools in the Tuscaloosa area, recruiting incoming freshmen to come to the university. And one of the main questions we addressed to each student was, what draws you to Bama? Why do you want to come to Bama? What makes Alabama stand out to you? And almost every student we spoke to, their response was the football team. The football program. I heard the football team was great. We got a great football program. We got great athletics. Not one thing was about doctor, lawyer, nurse, criminal justice, engineering. It was about football program. It was about the realm of athletics. So you already seen here with football, with athletics, the enrollment doubled, tripled, quadrupled here on the campus. Football brings in the masses of people. Aside from that, you look at how football really ups the beautification of the community as well as the campus. You got so many new buildings being brought in. With the monies that football and other sports brings in, you're talking about new buildings popping up on campus, new fraternity houses, new sorority houses, new food venues, new shopping duplexes, new shopping malls, new apartments popping up all around the community and surrounding areas. This comes from the financial status that the football team and other athletic venues bring in. And then you look at just the beautification or the rise of the state as a whole. You look at the state of Alabama, case in point right here. Birmingham at one point in time was the Steel City. Now Birmingham is the Magic City because of the technologies booming right here in Birmingham. And it's because with the rise of Nick Saban, with the rise of the football program, with the amount of money being brought in, there's so much infrastructure being brought in. There's so much of these cities. Huntsville's booming, Alabaster's growing, Pelham is growing. All these different towns, these different cities here within the state growing because the influx of funds being brought in by the football program, and these young men are not seeing a dime, are not seeing an ounce of that money, are not seeing an ounce of that infrastructure. And I'm not saying to pay these guys, hundreds of millions of dollars. No, but I do, as I always say, a stipend is needed. A stipend can be used. Now, the question will be is how will the money be divvied up upon, the pay for play coming fully into fruition here, especially when you look at the popularity of different players. Does a Mac Jones get the same amount of money as a Ben Davis? Or we'll take it from this step. Coming up in the upcoming season, you have a Bryce Young. Does a Bryce Young get paid the same as a Will Riker? Or does a Jalen Moody get paid the same as a Jai Hall? Or does a Jaleel Billingsley get paid the same as a Christian Harris? So how will they divvy up the money? How do they converse between themselves on who gets paid more based on the status of that player, the popularity of that player, the prestige of that player, and how much the fans really truly value that particular student athlete? So I do feel like a stipend is needed. I do feel like a stipend is important. And I do feel like with all the athletes bring here to these respective colleges and universities, they should be compensated for what they bring because they pay off that scholarship 4 and 5 and 6 and 10 times over. And they deserve to see that money. They should see that money. They should be compensated. They should be done rightly for all that they give each and every football season to the fans, to the administration staff, and to the universities as a whole. But we take our next break here on the show. Don't touch that dial, because when we get back, we return to the phone lines to entertain you, the Tide fans, and strike a dialogue with you right after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit weownthefourthquarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at weownthefourthquarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at weownthefourthquarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
As we are back into the action here, folks, on a Wednesday hump day, number 1 forum for Bama football news, in my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into the phone lines to take your calls here, call statement brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang. Got to remind you of mybookie.ag. It's mybookie.ag, latest sponsor here to TDA. So you feeling fortunate, you feel like you got the swag, the sauce, the drip, the skills to pay the bills when it comes to wagering on these Alabama football games, or any football games for that matter. Check out our guys at mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. You make the right play and sign up today. And when you do, you use the promo code TDAlabama to get your deposit matched halfway. That's all the way up to $1,000. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it. So check them out right now. mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Sponsor there to TD Alabama Magazine. Also, some super chats to get to right now. How about Willie351 with that 777 helping us out here on the show? Appreciating Willie351. Then we got Kraft K'ing up one with that $9.99 on his end. Appreciating Kraft K'ing up one for the love right there. And Spencer Reveley, that $5 donation coming from our own Spencer Reveley, helping us out here on the show. As always, Tide Nation, that daily super chat goes $75 daily. Super chat go. Appreciating you guys for showing us the love here, making this your show. But as always, 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard tonight on the show. Want to hear from you. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. That's the number right there. But as you guys are getting your thoughts together to call in, another cool topic right here. And this one goes to Najee Harris. I'm telling you, if you want to be the best, you got to train with the best. And Najee training right now with Adrian Peterson, AP, all day. Adrian Peterson working with Najee Harris and getting him ready for the upcoming NFL draft, which starts next week, Thursday of next week. Really excited to see where Najee goes in the first round. But Adrian Peterson, you talk about somebody that was a beast in the league. I know he's currently a free agent as of right now, but a guy that had 8, 1,000-yard seasons in the league. One of only 8 running backs in league history to rush for 2,000-plus yards in a single season. A guy that, 3-time NFL rushing leader in his career. 2012 with the Vikings, was the league MVP, was the NFL Offensive Player of the Year when he totaled 2,097 yards rushing. Young man with a guy out of University of Oklahoma, just a big-time player, and really excited to see what he does in helping Harris become a star here in the league, sort of taking him under his wing a little bit. And AP already talking about nobody is going to be able to handle one Najee Harris at the next level. He's a bad man. He's a bad dude, and he's ready to make some things pop, ready to make some things shake. As of right now, we're already seeing so far the Miami Dolphins have been huge in trying to reunite Najee with Tua. It's been a real thing right now, a big thing. According to Dolphins GM, General Manager Chris Grier, on today, he said that Tua is going to take a step forward. He's going to take that next step. He's going to be really good in his second season with the Dolphins, and of a team trying to make sure it drafts the right pieces around him. With the number 6 overall pick, you can take a Devontae Smith, you can take a Jalen Waddle, you can take a Kyle Pitts out of Florida. You could even maybe take a Jamar Chase there as well if you so choose to. Now with the number 18 overall pick, here is where a lot of people feel like Najee would come off the board to Miami. Now the Dolphins have a couple of backs already, but they don't have that big power back that's got just an array of athletic traits when you discuss hurdling players, stiff-arming players, spinning by players. Najee can do just a ton of things there and making defensive backs look silly there on the field. So when discussing Chris Grier and head coach Brian Flores, they have been saying from the jump that they are committed to Tua. They want Tua. Tua is their guy. They traded the number 3 overall pick to the San Francisco 49ers to ensure Tua that he is their guy. So in trying to continue that commitment, you have to draft pieces around him, players around him. So Najee Harris working with one, Adrian Peterson, going to be awesome to see where he goes here next week in the venue. But we take another break here, folks, on the show, but don't touch that dial when we get back. Nick Saban did a little yelling there to one JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry in the 8A game. What does this mean for the 5-star defensive back? I will give my reaction to it, and what does it mean for Kool-Aid moving forward? Don't touch that dial. You're listening to In My Own Words.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We are back in, folks, from the break here on the number 1 ticket for Bama football news, in my own words, on a Wednesday hump day. Hottest show on the streets here. Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into the last topic of discussion on this evening, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That is TDAwear.com. For all of you fans still overjoyed with the Crimson Tide's national championship, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. What does this mean? It means we want you to go and grab you an 18 of them things, folk. T-shirt, hoodie, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that features all 18 championship years on the back. You head on over right now, do it right now, to TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. You get you those shirts today. You go to the Championship Collections tab, copy that merch, show them that support to Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Gotta shout out Mechanic, baby! Mechanic one time, that $15 donation to the Super Chats. Appreciate that love there coming from Mechanic. But now, here we go, people. Nick Saban gave it a little bit to JaQuincy Kool-Aid McKinstry in the 8A game, the spring game. Got on him a little bit there on last week. But there is a reason why he got on to Kool-Aid, and I will explain that right after you hear how it sounded the way Nick Saban got on to Kool-Aid. Check it out.
Kool-Aid.
Joey's still getting his gear on. I'll hop in here for you, my man. That is
Kool-Aid.
Joey's still getting his gear on. I'll hop in here for you, my man.
That was Nick Saban getting on the Kool-Aid there, walking on the field, and Saban not playing that music whatsoever. But when you look at that, and first and foremost, McKinstry had a strong spring game. Let's establish that right now. He had a strong game. He had a strong spring. This was somebody that Coach Saban could not stop talking about. In every press conference he mentioned, Kool-Aid's picking things up. He's learning things. He's progressing. He's getting better and better. He's understanding what he has to do out there. He's a guy that we can see contributing to this team in the secondary. And, of course, in both scrimmages, he played well, second-team corner. And then in the 8A game, 3 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a pass breakup, and an interception off one Braxton Barker at the bottom of the screen, you saw a lot of intense battles going on between the two 5-stars, Kool-Aid and Najee Harris. So, I mean, Kool-Aid had a fantastic spring. He had a very good A-Day game. The reason why Coach Saban got on him like that is Coach Saban sees something in Kool-Aid. And when Coach Saban sees something of value in particular specific players, he coaches them differently, right? Like he coached Tua Tagovailoa different than other players because Tua had a different type of personality, a different type of skill set. But for guys that can take that real hardcore, tough coaching, Saban sees that, off the rip, off the jump. And because he wants to have that player uphold that standard, not just as the athlete on the field, but also as the young man on the field, off the field, and in the community. Saban, when he sees players that have specific traits, specific qualities, specific skill sets, he coaches those guys differently. He coaches those guys hard because he wants to get the utmost out of those guys. He sees something of value in JaQuincy McKinstry. And what he sees, Saban sees a potential shutdown, lockdown corner. At some point, he knows Kool-Aid is going to be what I had in Dre Kirkpatrick. He's going to be what I had in D. Milner. He's going to be what I had in Marlon Humphrey, what I had in Levi Wallace, what I had in Anthony Averett, what I had in here recently, Patrick Surtain. So I know Kool-Aid has the potential to be that dude, to be that guy, to be a guy that I can put him on an island and say, young man, you see that receiver? Take him completely out of the play. Take him completely out of the fray, completely out of the picture, and I will be able to trust that Kool-Aid will be able to go out on the field and do that and perform in a way that will uphold the standard that is Alabama football. And there have been different players that Coach Saban has coached and has got on in the same way that he did, McKinstry. Case in point, Tony Brown. I mean, Saban saw something special in Tony Brown. Now, of course, Tony Brown was an intimidation tactic more so than anything else. But at the end of the day, the 5-star from Texas, Coach Saban saw something in him during Brown's tenure at the University of Alabama. That's why he stayed on Tony. That's why he kept getting on Tony. That's why when folks kept saying, Coach Saban, do away with Tony. Do away with Tony. He's a troublemaker. Coach Saban kept his hands on Tony because he knew if I stay on him, if I work with him, if I polish up the edges a little bit, I know there's a diamond in TB. There's a diamond in Tony Brown. And if I could just get to the freaking diamond, oh my goodness, we're going to have a good player here and Tony Brown. Coach Saban stayed on Ronnie Harrison. The exact same thing. Ronnie Harrison was a wild, emotional kid. He coached Ronnie hard. He coached Ronnie tough because Saban knew if I can just get to the diamond that's inside of Ronnie Harrison, we're going to have something here. Coach Saban did the same thing for guys like Reuben Foster. If I can get to that diamond, I know Reuben can be a little bit crazy. He can be a little bit unorthodox. He do some foolish stuff, some stupid stuff, but there's a diamond in him. There's potential in him. There's big quality in him. There's playmaking ability inside this dude. If I can reach him, if I can tap into that diamond, then Reuben's going to be something of huge value. The same thing in terms of Tim Williams also. Then if you flip to guys offensively, he stayed on Kenyon Drake because he knew there was a diamond in Kenyon Drake. He knew there was big playability inside Drizzy Drake. He knew if I can get Kenyon to be even keel, level-headed, not focused on external factors, not focused on things that don't matter aside from Alabama football, your schoolwork, and just being a quality human being. If I can tap inside that diamond, I can pull out what I need to pull out there from Drake, and he can be a special elite marquee player. The same thing going back to defense with Eddie Jackson. It was the same thing. He saw something special in Eddie Jackson. He got on to Eddie. He picked at Eddie. He wanted to pull something out of Eddie Jackson. So the case here is, people, when Nick Saban goes after a player, when he goes off on a player, when he gets hot there on the mic toward a player, it's not the fact that he doesn't like that player or he's disrespecting that player. It's the fact that he sees something special in that player, and he does not want to have that thing ruined. He sees something special, in Kool-Aid. And this is a guy that coming from a high school program, Pinson Valley High School, just outside the Birmingham area here. He was coached by Sam Shade, a former Alabama defensive back. So I'm pretty sure Coach Shade got on Kool-Aid a couple of times, because Shade knows the mantra. He knows the moniker. He knows the standard that is Alabama football, because Shade played in it as a player. So Saban talked about it. When you get these guys that come from these winning programs, that come from these high school coaches that know what the deal is, that they're able to come into Alabama, their mindset, they're able to transition, they're able to do the things that need to be done on the field to be special, to be productive, to be dominant players. And Kool-Aid, to me, is somebody that can take this type of coaching, but that will thrive in this type of coaching, that will be better because of this type of coaching, that wants this type of coaching. I mean, you want to be coached by the greatest of all time. You want Coach Saban to get on you. You want Coach Saban to jaw kind of back and forth with you, because not only are you getting, corrected, but you're getting priceless, valuable nuggets that you can take to add to your arsenal, to your repertoire, to your resume, to your magnitude, if you will, as a player. So to me, this is good for McKinstry. This is only going to help him be better, be stronger, and be somebody that when his number is called to soon become a starter in the secondary for the Alabama defense, he would have been well-groomed, well-equipped, well-prepared to step into those shoes and handle business. So we've seen Coach Saban do this for other players. He's doing this with Kool-Aid, so that just means the baton of greatness has been passed over to that young man, and I'm excited to see what he does as a freshman here when the fall comes into play. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, materials, and coverage here on your favorite program, the Alabama Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you've got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you right here on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, or iHeartRadio. We've got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Friday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. As always, Bama fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also, if you're trying to get you the new print edition of TDA, the magazine that is shipping soon here, shipping quickly here, you can get this by going to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, become a subscriber today. That link will be in the description also. And if you're trying to copy that four-finger bling necklace, four-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of weownthefourthquarter.com, that link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children continue doing the right thing, the fun thing, the smart thing, the legitimate thing to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, see you Friday, people. It's been in my own words.